Being reminded that I have an entire project to do doesn't ease the knot that's formed in my stomach. Not that great. Still need a lot of film and research.
What kind of research?
Stuff about Echo.
Like history stuff?
Yep, like the stuff that's in your basement. Carl plays a while longer, then sets down his controller.
My mom might have some echo history stuff in the cellar, but
He pauses.
you know how Flynn is like the records holder, right?
The clerk. Yeah. I already know that Carl is what Carl is getting at, and honestly, I want to kick myself for not thinking of it in the first place. Carl turns to me, a loopy grin on his face. The edibles really do fuck with him.
So let's go get some records from him. Probably better than digging around in my basement.
Well, yeah, we should, but I don't even know what to get.
Don't worry about it, dude. I go down there to shoot the shit with him all the time. We can ask him.
Things aren't exactly cool between Flynn and I right now, but it's something to do. I'm so behind on my project at this point, I don't have any excuses. Exclusives.
Exclusives?
Mm-hmm. Exclusives. I mean, hey, Chase, I mean, at the bare minimum, you can just say that you had to, like, pay Flynn for his services. We pull into the gravel parking lot in front of City Hall. That City Hall? What a
Run what it
dump.
looks like it's a tent city. Holy crap.
Yeah, it looks like it's a homo shelter. Well, no, homo shelters look really kind of look a lot better than that. Um, no, like seriously, they are nice buildings. Sometimes they're a little run down, but they're nice buildings.
This
It's
million
just
dollar
that
structure houses the people that make less than $20,000 a year.
it's just sometimes drug deals go down there. The stucco structure looks like a hell of a lot more. The stucco structure looks a hell of a lot more weathered than I remember it. Tarps drape the roof, and one of the windows is blocked out with plastic. City Hall is probably the oldest building still standing in Echo. From what I read on the county's website, it served as the town's post office back in the early 20th century. Before then, it was an outpost used as an intelligence operations center during the years leading up to the Mormon Rebellion. Government spies were planted in the nearby settlement of Colville to Peyton. In the nearby settlements, the nests, from Colville to Peyton, and delivered the reports on potential agitators at this outpost. They actually kept a priest on hand to help reaffirm the spies' faith in the true word of Christ. It's weird to think that Sydney was the last Mormon I knew. Are you sure Flynn works here? I exit my car, watching Carl stare ahead. His eyes are half lidded, the ram seeming to stare for miles beyond the building in front of us.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Carl doesn't move. Are you gonna come out? The ram blinks slowly, his maws starting to hang agape. He shifts his bloodshot gaze. He shifts his bloodshot gaze shifts towards my torso.
My parents would flip.
Okay, yeah, the edibles have hit in full force.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to get that whole like tone of just like I'm fucking high.
Uh,
Slow
Okay, like
speech.
serious thing though.
Go.
If you're gonna do something like this, what you want to do is take the edible first, and then once it fully hits, smoke a joint, and then you'll get up to like you'll go to like a 1 out of you'll go to like a 4 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. You'll stay there for like 10 hours.
Fuck.
He flops his wrist in front of him limply, his tone tinged with femininity. Oh my goodness. Of the car?
Yeah. Just give me a second.
Carl reaches down, unscrewing the lid from his water bottle and taking a few hearty glugs. When Carl grabs the car door handle, he hesitates. After a moment, he looks at me. He's completely silent, sucking in his chest on one side.
It's cheek.
Mm-hmm. Sucking in his cheek on one side.
He's sucking his chest on one
Carl?
side. He's got a wound.
Yeah, he's somehow able to, like, control what lung gets air. Does that mean he's able to, like, take a breath and then just push it between his lungs?
He knows he can control his eyes like a chameleon, just one eye looking in one direction, the other one looking everywhere else.
Remember, everyone, when you play baseball, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. Finally, he speaks.
I sort of agreed to come without considering that I'd be talking to anyone but you and, Brew today. A little on the mayor and stuff. I'm still stoned as balls. I look like shit.
He laughs some in real self-deprecating fashion. Visibly sheepish, despite the THC still flowing through him.
I think I might just chill here in your car with the air conditioning and hike on tactics.
He holds up his phone, and I think I can just barely spot the icon for it in a sea of other game maps. Carl does look high, though he doesn't appear any worse than he usually looks. Telling him that probably wouldn't do much for his confidence, though. Okay, here's the thing. If we bring him in, Flynn will be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Well, he doesn't smell like pot, so... Yeah, Flynn would be like... Also, the fact that Carl's high and chatty as hell, like, would probably just annoy the shit out of Flynn, which probably wouldn't make Chase's... Chase look any better in his eyes right now. So, let's bring him in. Are you sure?
If we let him stay at the car, he might drive our car.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we know how that works.
Oh yeah, because you got to turn the car on to have the AC going, huh?
Yeah, so we'll come out and have no gas. Then again, he might just leave the car on by accident.
Yeah.
So if we reassure him that he's okay, I mean, his parents can't be any less. I don't want to say that. That's too mean. I was going to say his parents can't be any less disappointed in him, but the night is young. Can't be any more disappointed. Then again, it's the mayor of Echo, and his addiction is very, very, very well known throughout Echo. I'm pretty sure.
And plus, what are they going to do to the rich kid?
Just walks around stoned everywhere.
And plus, what are they going to do to like the richest people's in town's kid, you know?
I mean, on top of that, there's the whole thing of like, he's not hurting anyone, he's not causing any problems, he's just high. So there's like, okay, whatever.
And he says he goes down
And
there all the time. So it's like they would probably they'd probably be happy just having him around. Like, hey, Carl, how's it going? You don't smell like pot
you know,
today.
he's super high all the time when he goes down there.
Yeah, he's probably super high all the time. So
Let's reassure him and let him come with us
yeah,
because it's more chaotic.
yeah, which is more fun. It's more fun for us.
Carl, man, you're acting pretty sober right now, and you don't smell like weed too fiercely. At least not to my outer senses.
Really? Your otter senses must be pretty dull.
Your BO is overpowering it. Carl hastily sniffs himself, then tries to air out his hoodie from the bottom by flapping it up and down. I'm just messing with you. You're fine. I have some sunglasses in the glove box to cover your eyes. Carl sighs, tugging open the dash. A few crumpled receipts, my registration slip, an insurance brochure, and a pair of slightly dusty sunglasses are visible in the compartment.
Oh, they're tortoiseshell. Isn't that kind of girly?
What? Guys wear tortoiseshell styles ones? It's not like the old polka dot or something. I mean, Mr. Wrist Flip.
My
What?
mom, my mom wears these colored sunglasses all the time. So I literally can't see these without picturing her.
Well, like, that's your personal thing. No one else thinks that. He slides them onto his face. They rest somewhat awkwardly on his sizable snout, unable to settle in place neatly. Damn it, your nose is too big. Carl pulls the shades off his face and limply tosses them in the dash, leaning back into his seat with a long exhale. Exhale.
Dude, I think I should just stay in the car. Seriously.
I need your help with some of the stuff, Carl. I'd feel awkward. I'd feel all awkward if I was in there for hours with you just sitting here waiting for me.
Plus the gas spent,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Here we are
fine.
being all here we are being all practical.
Yeah. Plus, it is City Hall, and I think in most places it's illegal just to have your car running for hours and hours while you're, away. If you're shopping, that's one thing, but just letting your high friend.
I think it's mostly just in deserts. I think it changes, but
Hmm.
I think it's mostly just that your car will get stolen. So they're just like, okay, we need to make it illegal so people's cars stop getting stolen.
Yeah. It's fine. I just get in your way. I'm not really good at this sort of research stuff.
There's a difference between exploring old records for interesting info and frantically searching for stuff online the night before papers due, Carl. He doesn't budge. The Ram's staring at his phone in his lap. What's the matter with you? You look fine.
Can you just stop putting a spotlight on me, dude?
What? He idly taps at his phone, though he's just blankly flipping through screens at the moment. Carl! The Ram pushes open the door and steps out, looking away from me. All right. Thank you. He's acting absolutely bizarre. Part of me hopes this is just a weird side effect of the edibles from this morning. We'll talk later, okay? Carl sniffs, shrugging his shoulders. He's trying to act nonchalant.
Sure, dude. What do you want me to do?
I do my best. I do my best attempt at a reassuring smile. For Carl's sake. I don't really feel too cheery at the moment, though. Well, first, we should get the tripod and camera out of the trunk. We can get some B-roll of the building while we're here. The camera is kept separate in a padded hard case. See if you can get the tripod set up with the camera on it. I'm gonna head inside, say hello, and get permission to film real quick. I pop the trunk with the button on my keys. Carl looks towards the equipment with a thin-lipped expression.
Okay.
There's a bubble level on the tripod. Just make sure that the bubble is in the center of the circle when you set it up. That means it's level. That way, our shot won't be all crooked. Once it's good, you slide the camera so that it's hooked into place from the back of the stand. Make sure that it clicks. That means it's locked. Yeah, Carl's not going to remember any of this. You have to, Chase, Carl is stoned out of his fucking mind right now. He's not going to remember anything. You're going to come back, the camera's going to be on the ground. It's going to be on, it's not going to, the tripod's not going to be
Broken.
level.
You might break it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Carl digs his paws into the insides of his hoodie, still staring into the trunk. Okay. I'll be right back. Leaving Carl, I head towards the front door. That's when I hear an explosion somehow and look back and Carl's on fire. I don't know how he's on fire, but he is.
He's on fire inside of his hoodie, which surprisingly is not on fire.
Oh, dude. It's so dumb. I love it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to draw that now. It's gonna be Carl on fire with his hoodie not on fire. just
Just
him.
shooting up.
Yeah, just fire squirt just blowing out of like the top of his hoodie and the bottom and the arms. And the hoodie just fine. How the fuck does that work?
I'm still not sure what's up with him, but pressing him on how he doesn't seem. I'm not sure what's up with him, but pressing him on it now doesn't seem like a good idea. Stepping into City Hall, the first thing I notice is how dry the air feels. There's no ventilation to speak of. It makes me feel like I'm standing inside a really slow baking oven. Half of me wants to run out and jump into the first body of water I can find, while the other half just wants to curl up in a ball and take a nap. The faint droning of a voice on a speaker is audible. It sounds like some sort of outdoorsy hunting and fishing broadcast.
Chase?
Flynn's tall, leering form emerges from one of the doorways, a stack of envelopes in hand. We stare at each other for a few seconds, as the reality of what we've done with one another is hanging pretty poignantly in the air. Hey! He exhales, his demeanor shifting. His raised shoulders going more lax, and his tail settles on the musty, carpeted floor.
What?
He looks back through one of the doorways beside him, then back to me, his scaled brow furrowed. For a moment, my mind blanks. I'm not sure what to do with my paws. It's really stuffy in here. Flynn looks at me questioningly.
The only people who work here are reptiles, so we keep the habitat all dry and stuff. Habitat is
The
horribly misspelled.
habitat.
Habitat, yeah.
It's a thermostat, but it's a habitat.
that
Makes sense.
actually makes sense. Yeah, good job, guys. The only people who work here are reptiles, so we keep the habitat all dry and such.
His gaze shifts back to the doorway again before returning to me.
There's something you want? I'm pretty busy.
I clear my throat. Crossing my arm. Crossing my arms over my chest. Yeah, I was hoping to get permission to film around City Hall and take a look at some records.
What records were you looking to go through?
Well, I don't know. Flynn stares at me with an indiscernible expression. I'm just looking for anything I can use for my report.
So you don't have parcel numbers or a date or anything? You want to just what? Browse?
Well, maybe you could point me in the right direction. You're the city clerk, after all. Flynn lets out a raspy exhale, moving to take a seat in his swivel chair at the front desk, tail coiling around the base.
Alright, the reading room is off limits on account that monsoon season took out a portion of its roof cover last year. I can set you up in the mail room with the microfiche and a computer for the time being.
He grasps the edge of the desk, staring at the tips of his fingers.
I need to check with the mayor to see what all you've got access to.
Flynn's about to stand up again when another Gila steps into the room. She's slightly overweight and decked out in khaki shorts with a matching outdoorsy button up top. Despite being indoors, she dons a large sun hat, also khaki, with a vibrant floral bandana around her neck. This must be the mayor, Flynn's aunt. I thought I heard another voice in here. I catch wind of her perfume, a strong, sweet pea scent that seems to fill the room. Her slitted blue eyes focus in on me. It's almost like she's sizing me up. Are you from the grants committee? I pause, quickly shake my head. No, sorry. She visibly seems to deflate, her brow lowering and her eyelids drooping to a half-lidded lull. Uh, I'm Chase Hunter, Flynn's friend. That's so. Another one, then. She looks pissed. She looks over towards Flynn, who's currently rubbing his temple. He responds quickly.
An old friend. Childhood. You've met Chase before, I'm pretty sure. Or at least seen him around town.
She seems to think for a moment before a look of realization comes to her. Oh, I almost didn't recognize you with that thing on your chin. I most certainly remember you. I blink, reaching up and covering my goatee instinctively. You were the one who was always You're the one who was always palling around with that red wolf fella, Leo, weren't you? Gay couple, right? I chuckle a bit sheepishly, nodding. Having spent the past 3 years at Pueblo, I'm not as used to people talking about me like this as I once was. Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes. He exchanges a glance with Flynn, who is looking a bit tense.
Chase is doing a school project on the town and wants access to the records we've got on hand.
He fill out the request form yet?
No, he just wants to browse, I guess.
Well, it's only public record stuff that I want to take a look at.
You still have to go through the process. Usually the requests are just for a parcel at a time.
What sort of school project is this for, Chase? Well, I'm a journalism major at the University of Pueblo. I have to create a documentary style video report on something. I chose Echo. Ah, you aren't aiming to smear us to the general public, then, are ya? Her tone suggests she's joking, but she has that same intense look that Flynn has, where I really can't tell for sure. No, Mayor. You know, we have a grant application that we're interested in putting out there that requires a video entry detailing the sights around town. Would you be interested in that sort of thing? Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to know more about the project. Honestly, I can't imagine the sheer amount of sugar coating I'd need to muster to create a positive report about this place.
Fill this out.
Flynn is pushing a form across the desk my way. The mayor clears her throat. Chase, where it asks for lot or parcel request, you can just put in all inventory. All right, will do. I take a pen from Flynn and begin to write. I see him look up to his haunt.
All inventory?
Yes.
All right, then.
He huffs some idly. Then the podcasters on Flynn's speakers are going into detail about creating complex fish nets and trappings. I'll leave you two boys to it then. Welcome back to Echo, Chase. It's good to be back. I say
Liar.
as I look around like, help me. Flynn suddenly rolls his eyes, turning back to his computer. The mayor just smiles before heading back to what I assume is her office.
I think it's kind
I
of
finish
funny
up-
that the mayor has a bosom because it's like she's a lizard. I don't think they produce milk.
Yeah, but most furry stuff, like, everyone just has boobs for some reason. like on some furry stuff, you'll see like if you see a female furry wearing like just like a bikini or something, she'll like still have the other nipples like down her belly, but they don't have like full boobs.
Hmm.
But sometimes they'll go into that kind of detail. Other times they'll just do like the two kind style where they just ignore that. So and it is what it is. Just different stylistic things. Just I mean, obviously lizards don't have memories.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for them to have boobs. But it's usually just a stylistic thing. Now just imagine if humans were lizards and we have mammal furries. They probably wouldn't have breasts at all because we wouldn't understand why they would. Or they just look like weird, disgusting things.
No, yeah, that's true.
Strange, disgusting growths of just fat covered with hair.
Gross.
I mean, everybody knows that you just sort of like sweat out the milk for your kids, right? Weird ass lizards.
Just have
All
to
right.
like let it roll down and accumulate in a bucket or something.
Yeah, aren't there like some lizards that like sweat out like the milk for their? I mean, lizards that Do lizards take care of their young?
Not generally.
Not really. I
I
think
mean,
they just eggs
alligators do.
and
Alligator mom will fuck you up.
but do they don't nurse them though, right? Like I'm thinking of a platypus where like they sweat out milk on like part of their body and
You seriously do that?
like the young platypus, I think like drinks it off of that or something. I know there's some mammals that are kind of weird. I actually don't think that reptiles
I don't think they
nurse
nurse their
their
kids
young
at
at
all. They
all.
pretty much like as soon as they're hatched, they're kind of just
Yeah.
as soon as like the eggs are laid, it's pretty much mom's off to go make some more eggs.
Yeah. Eh. I finish up the form in silence, pushing it back towards Flynn. He squints at it for a moment before speaking.
Any word from Leo?
A topic change catches me off guard. I look up to see Flynn leaning close, his voice lowered. Yeah, he believed the whole spending the night at Carl's story.
Carl went along with it?
Uh-huh. I ended up telling him the whole truth, though. I guess I just started feeling real shit about all this lying. Flynn leans back in his chair suddenly, clenching his eyes shut. He opens his mouth like he's going to say something, but merely shakes his head.
Chase, you fucking realize that when this week is over, you just get to go back to college land. And I'm stuck here with the results of all your shitty choices.
You know Carl as well as I do. He wouldn't go telling Leo to start drama. And anyways, he saw us, by the truck. Flynn's eyes open, and he just stares at the ceiling for a long moment.
Fuck it. Let's get your musky ass set up with a goddamn county guest login so you can access your GIS maps.
He scoots back over towards his computer, beginning to type something. I catch a glimpse of his desktop wallpaper. It looks like a sort of waterfall surrounded by a lush evergreen forest. It's kind of blurry, like a smaller image stretched to fit the screen. I also see a few transparent stock image logos laid over the top.
We've got physical records, real old ones, stored in the mailroom. Though I wouldn't say the shit there's very browsable. Some religious historical society types came by 8 months ago and helped us archive a lot of it. They're all in the labeled manila folders along the south wall.
Flynn turns back to the computer, peeking at the keyboard. For a clerk, he's not remotely a fast typer. Oh damn! I forgot to ask for permission to film here. Flynn grunts.
Permission granted. Go do that while I get this fucking thing working.
Glancing back at his screen, I see incorrect password. 2 remaining entries before lockout flash up.
Yeah, I know how that is. Now I gotta reset the password, check my phone. Oh, I fucking hate this shit.
After looking at his keyboard, it takes me only a couple of seconds to figure out what's wrong. Flynn?
What?
He snaps at me, and I can see his pointed teeth between his scaled lips for a moment.
Caps lock?
You had your caps lock on. Flynn pounds the caps lock key with some extra force before returning back to his typing.
Thanks. Now, fuck off for a bit.
I stare at him. I can't help but feel a twisting sensation in my chest.
Oh, it's love.
Oh,
he loves the
I'm Chase
lizard.
Hunter. I like people who abuse me.
That's why I like the abusive, crazy psycho boyfriend Leo.
he is he is very crazy psycho boyfriend. Like when you just see Leo's right, it's like, yeah, he's all right, you know. It's just, but then you see the rest of it, he's like, holy shit.
You get to the end by the train. It's just like, oh, they're gonna ride the train together, and then
He rips your ass off the train and kills you. But I mean, like the whole thing is like, with that, he's in like deep hysteria.
Yeah.
So like his hysteria might be is sort of like the whole thing with like in TJ's route when like Chase gives Flynn that stuff. So like like the hysteria can be a full blown, completely immersive hallucination, or it can change your behavior to make you think that things are a good or bad idea. So like yeah, but we see Leo and it's like, okay, cool. So he's being chill and everything, but this entire thing is just a way for him to get back into Chase's pants.
Yeah.
He's just using this entire thing to manipulate the events to get back into the relationship. And it's like, yeah, you know, that's not really a good thing to do, Leo. Chase has already moved on, dude. All right. I'm not sure if I expected him to treat me differently after doing what we did, but I definitely didn't think he'd treat me worse. I tried to think of something to say to make this right, to make this not awkward, to make this not awkward as it seems to be getting. Yet the longer I stand here, the more uncomfortable he seems to get. I guess I'm literally just leering at him like a creep right now. Fuck. I get up and head out, deciding to keep my mouth shut is the best course of action for the time being. As I step outside, the first thing I see is Carl down on his knees in the gravel, tripod upright beside him, car on fire. His large shoulders are still shaking.
somehow the sweatshirt's still not on fire. just a big glowing ember inside of a sweatshirt. There's like a Balrog put on a sweater that can't catch on fire. Must have gotten cold.
His large shoulders are shaking some, and I can hear rasping swears between his shuffling movements. Carl, did you drop the camera? Carl's shuffling stops. The ram turns his head to look at me, the whites of his eyes looking the color of bubble gum. I guess he wasn't sobering as much as I thought he was.
Fuck, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fuck. It just slipped and shit because the thing is too hard to put on. Like, it won't lock. There was no click.
As I approach, I see the camera splayed out in front of him on the gravel on its side. Carl's clutching a snapped-off battery in his paws. Oh, Jesus, Carl, you dropped it?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't turn on, and this thing fell off.
He holds up the battery casing, and I quickly take it from him, beginning to try to fashion it back on.
I'm really fucking sorry, man. I'll pay for it and everything. And like, I can write a note to your teacher saying it's my fault that...
Snap! The battery locks into place on the back of the camera. With a tentative sigh, I flip on the power. The digital battery flashes to life through the viewfinder, and I look back up at Carl. His jaws slack, his expression vacant, almost gormless? The hell is gormless?
Yeah, they've used that they've used that one other time. It's like, I kind of forget what it is, but it's like a very obscure...
Lacking a sense of initiative, foolish.
Looking very foolish, yeah.
It's fine. It looks like nothing's broken or cracked. He rubs his sizable paw across his eyes and muzzle, closing his mouth. The flickering wave of relief that appears in his eyes seems to quickly dissipate, however.
Oh, guess it wasn't broken.
No, the battery disconnected from the camera when it slid off the tripod. They're designed to come off. Like, I do it all the time to recharge them. He just kneels there, rubbing his face as he stares at the equipment.
You drop it, or
Carl,
you
this isn't
drop
that
it to
hard.
recharge it?
Yeah, I mean, I just take it and I throw it on the ground, and, it's fine. Carl, this isn't that hard. He's quiet for a second.
Yeah, I know it isn't.
He pushes himself back up to his hooves. But Chase, you need to keep in mind, Carl is completely blasted right now.
Knee high as.
Look,
Ah!
look, all you gotta do when you're trying to attach the camera to the tripod is slide it in the existing grooves right here. I point to the two beveled edges on the base. Then bring it in from the backside and
Dude, I just don't think I'm up for this right now. I'm blasted.
he's looking back towards my car, his paws in his pockets. Fine. I got this, I guess.
Yeah, I just get in the way.
I give Carl a look. I know he's not obligated to help or anything, but Jesus Christ. He dips his head, trudging his way back towards the car. With a sigh, I start setting up the remaining equipment myself. It takes about 15 minutes to get it all put together and the color white balanced. Even still, the gravel parking lot makes it difficult to adequately line up my shot. Everything ends up looking slightly crooked. I know I can probably fix it in post, but that's more work for me that I'm not looking forward to. Carl, meanwhile, has his eyes glued to his phone. Looks like he found a pair of earbuds because he's got those in too. Refocusing, I take stock of the footage I've gotten from here so far. The midday sun means that my recordings are all pretty much well lit, but I can't help but think that a sunset would be more symbolic. Would be more symbolic. Maybe I'll come back later. I don't know. My phone vibrates in my shorts. Grabbing it, I see I've got a new message from Leo.
With Gina
With
and TJ playing football.
I'm assuming he means soccer, but I decided now isn't the time to press him on word choice. Sounds fun. Filming with Carl and Flynn here. I slide my phone into my pocket, unlocking the trunk of my car so that I can start putting away all this equipment. After closing the trunk, I realize that Flynn's standing at the City Hall entrance with his arms crossed, staring furrow-browed at my vehicle.
Why the fuck is Carl here just sitting in the car?
I throw up my arms and shrug.
Damn. His eyes. He's fucking stoned off his rocker, ain't he?
Flynn is squinting in the window at the Ram, who seems to barely acknowledge his presence. He ate too much of an edible this morning, apparently. Flynn looks at me, then back to Carl. Flynn looks at me, and back to Carl.
Looks you. It looks me. I look at him. It looks me. He says, I'm sorry. What do you want again? Probably for the best he's staying in the car then. Come on.
He turns, heading back inside. I follow, catching a glimpse of Carl sinking down in his seat.
A really loud.
Flynn, Flynn leads me through the narrow hallways, the ceiling laden with visible old piping and the walls covered in dents and scratches. Eventually, we turn into a colorful room that looks like a mix between an old post office and a kindergarten classroom.
Kinda does. Alright, like I said, archive files are in the back along the south wall. The computer in the corner is logged into the county's GIS viewer. Maps and shit, basically.
He points to the cream colored computer that must be from around the early 2000s by the look of it, by the look of the make. Dust visible on top of the tower. Oh, so like where the native burial grounds and that sort of things are. Flynn crosses his arms, looking back down at me.
Yeah, no. As far as I know, the Maseta tribal government hasn't put forth any sacred site claims within miles of Echo.
Wow, really?
Really.
Why is that?
I don't have a whiff of shit's worth of a clue or care. Question if you want to be all weird about it.
I don't think she has much ties to her tribe.
Yeah, well, it doesn't stop her from being a bitch about it whenever she sees fit.
Flynn sucks in his cheek as if saying that left a bit of an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Flynn speaking less than kindly towards folks isn't anything new, but not usually about Jenna. He looks down at some papers in his hand as if they suddenly were very interesting. This is about what she said when you got Carl the lighter from the reservation. His slitted eyes flicked back up to me. His lips thinned.
You thought that was bullshit too, right?
Well, I think she was just in, I don't know, den mother mode in regards to TJ after what you did. If you want to get everyone talking again, you should probably just apologize. There's a pause in the conversation as cloud cover shades the light coming in from the window.
It's not just about the lighter crap. She doesn't give a shit about me. And she really didn't give a shit about Sydney.
I blink. I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned after all these years of silence on the subject, especially from Flynn. He catches my expression and grunts, the gilla resting the side of his hip against the sorting counter.
When he died, all she fussed about was how it affected TJ. Sydney could rot for all she cared.
That's not fair. We were kids, and people react to that sort of traumatic stuff differently. Maybe helping TJ is what kept her occupied.
Oh yeah? Remember a few months before it happened when all that shit was going on with Sid's dad? And fucking Jenna. All she did was try to shield TJ from all the negativity of the situation.
She tried to help, but he was different. I don't know. Fuck. We were just kids.
No. She fucking hated Sydney. Carl hated Sydney. Leo hated Sydney. TJ would never fucking admit it, but he hated Sydney. And you hated Sydney.
He looks me in the eyes now. I'm quiet for a moment, trying to think of what to say. Flynn, meanwhile, just looks expectant, seemingly waiting for me to blanch and try to defend myself. Sydney was an asshole. He raises his chin some, his arms, his arms, his crossed arms seeming to squeeze more tightly over his chest.
Yeah, so am I.
No, not like him.
Nobody knew him like I did.
You said that, but that doesn't mean that. But that doesn't mean you said that, but that doesn't mean crap. Mean the crap he pulled on us, on TJ, was in any way justified. I'm pretty sure he genuinely enjoyed watching people get hurt. Flynn stares slack jawed before quickly moving his teeth, or quickly gritting his teeth.
He liked wrestling. He liked pirates. He liked pulpy adventure shit. But he did not like hurting people. TJ cried every day, no matter what. He could see a dead fly on the windowsill and start bawling. And all you would, and all of you, and you all would drop everything and come rushing to his aid, scorning the shit out of anybody who didn't. We couldn't make jokes. We couldn't tease each other. We couldn't roughhouse. We couldn't even fucking swear without TJ getting upset. It isn't like we could go hang out with someone else. This is Echo. And Leo is fucking dead set on keeping the group together. Though now the group for Leo essentially consists of two members. Your ass and his cock.
I frown deeply. Before I can interject, he continues.
When Sydney died, you all convinced yourselves he was this fucking monster kid. So it didn't have to hurt as much. I ain't gonna apologize. Fucking hell, they should.
Flynn uncrosses his arms, staring some out the sole window of the cramped mailroom. The cloud cover lifts.
I'll be at the front desk. If you take something, always put it back where you found it.
He turns, making his way back down the narrow hall. I'm left alone. Everything feels really quiet, a sort of weird solace amidst the shelves upon shelves of Echo's history. I rub my face and muzzle, spinning a whisker as the previous conversation plays back in my head and begins to fade like a passing dream. Auto default network. We just saw it play out right here. With a slow exhale, I turn my head over to the archives. They all seem to be categorized by numbers like 105 66 009 or 107 21 001. I grab a random file off the shelf. 106 01 001. Flipping it open, I see clusters of 15 or so papers and permits for a place called Adelaide's Thrift and Pawn.
Oh.
It sounds familiar, and it only takes me a little bit more perusing to figure out why. Near the exit from Route 93 to Flint Road, there's this faded old shack of rotten wood. Growing up, all that was left was the sign out front. All that was left of the sign out front was Adelaide's Thrift. I think it's bulldozed now, though, since I didn't see it on the drive in. According to these documents, Adelaide von the Berg applied for and successfully obtained a business license and deed to the property in 1979. I'm guessing these folders correspond to a piece of property within Echo, or a parcel. It helps some, but I am still not exactly sure where to look. I put the file away and move over towards the computer Flynn got ready for me. The screen displays an aerial photograph of Echo, with little polygons drawn over it, like a bizarre checkerboard. Clicking one, nothing happens. I click again, and the pointer turns into an hourglass. The program stating that it's not responding. Damn it. As the hourglass rolls on the screen, I think I hear the front door open down the hall. At first, I wonder if it's Carl, but then a voice speaks that I don't recognize, then Flynn's. I can only make it a little bit, he says.
That's why they told you at the. That's what they told you at the county office? You could have come here.
The hourglass spins.
The unincorporation. It shouldn't affect developers who.
Finally, a little window pops up listing owner, address, parcel number, links to the building plans, and other fields. Slow as hell, but this is actually kind of neat, I guess. Curious, I scroll over to the location of my old house and click. This time it reacts a little faster.
The complaint forms are physical. Not much of an online presence at.
It's currently listed as abandoned and condemned. It looks like the people my parents sold it to ditched it rather quickly. I move back towards the archive, picking up my old house's corresponding file and setting it down on the counter. Opening it, I see a weathered floor plan of my old house, dating back to 1986. Nothing here could remotely be considered of interest for my project, however. I put the file back where I found it. As I hear the increasingly quiet rasp of Flynn's voice in the other room, I realize he's probably too busy to hold my hand with regards to where to look, especially after the previous conversation. Might be best just to give him some space. I stare at the aerial display on the computer monitor, trying to figure out where to start looking.
Which one?
I mean, he already took video of the abandoned school, so let's look at the abandoned school. Because then he could make most of his stuff about the school and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true.
After finding the parcel number on the GIS thing, I can't seem to find the corresponding file to it. It's like it doesn't exist in any records here. Or might just be misplaced. I'm going to go with the second theory. Maybe I'll ask Flynn about it later. I mean, we've seen that Curl's mansion is bigger and smaller at times, so let's check out Carl's mansion. I know enough about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. His great something or another is the town founder, after all. The place has been seriously modernized into a more stucco adobe style, but there's some history underneath all that. Growing up, Carl overheard all this and started thinking the place was haunted. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much so, his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with him during the weekends and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out, and his parents bought him M-rated games. I had to stay up late with his giant TV blowing up aliens and running over hookers. It was great. What's what I do in real life? I mean, I'm a journalist.
You run someone over, and then somebody just got hit in the street. That's fresh, breaking news.
Breaking news! Someone just got ran over, and here's the blood on the front of the car. And it gets out and looks at the blood on the front of his car. More at 9.
Somehow, this is the car the person was driving. The person who got ran over. They ran themselves over somehow.
Wow! I remember he started to become less afraid as time went on, and his parents stopped asking me to come over as much. So, of course, shitbag younger me told Carl a bunch of stories about a ghost bride who I said I saw standing outside his house at midnight. And that's how I got to spend my whole fifth grade summer vacation living at Carl's place. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's pretty surprising on account that it's a residential lot. Opening the folder, a photo placed in front of all the documents immediately catches my attention. Wow. Part of my mind immediately flashes back to Leo, but even he wasn't anywhere close to being this defined. I guess life in the early 20th century will do that to you. I should probably read the caption note for this that was attached. Sheriff William Adler rests after surviving the partial collapse of the Hendricks Castle. The Hendricks Castle? Below the note are some rather old, rudimentary building plans crumpled at the edge. The penmanship is all weird cursive and I can't read it. It does look a little like Carl's house, but much, much larger. What follows are a series of deed transfers from various members of the Hendricks family, and eventually a more modern building plan. There's even a cutout from a magazine, Southwestern Modern, which shows off the kitchen space back when it was first redesigned. I noticed something wedged in the back of a beige piece of paper that doesn't look like anything else in here. A poem? Why would this be in here? Embrace these lands, Baike. As black takes the sky, hot turns to cold. The safety of ignorance from the specters of the day. Shut their eyes and wail for the dark blanket, and save them from a hell. And the blonde tarantula pulls itself from the depths, rots with and without, in search of a suitor who will not live past the vehemence of its love. I flip over the poem and set it down on the counter. On the other side is a notice of death, a reference to an estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks who passed away in 1913. Cause of death is listed as poison/infection. Theraphosidae tarantula. That's pretty unsettling. I didn't think tarantulas were poisonous. I mean, I know they aren't because I searched that information online one night after seeing one on my back porch at 3 a.m. I guess that poem was some sort of informal epitaph for this guy. Regardless, it's a shitty way to die. I slide the poem/death notice back into the folder and make a note of it for the project. I think that's all for this parcel, so I place the folder back in its slot on the south wall. I have a feeling the mine is where we're going to move forward, so let's look at the City Hall.
Okay.
The City Hall has a lot of history. I assume most of the really old stuff isn't on file, but I'd be curious to see what's there regardless. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieve the corresponding file and lay it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's good. Hopefully that means there's supplemental information in there. Unfortunately, upon opening the file, I see there aren't that many documents. There is, however, a marked photo of some sort wedged between the folder edges. Well, if that is really the date of origin in the top right corner, this photo of these guys was taken at City Hall 100 years ago. I looked back down at the folder, finding a caption note for the image. Sheriff William Adder left, and Winsledale researcher Cliff Tippett, right, at town meeting to discuss Echo Meseta tribe relations. Adler. Just realize now that's Jaundice's last name. Must be a distant relative of hers. They're both really big people. The rest of the document.
Big muscles, big butt.
Yeah. They're both really big boned, that's all. The rest of the documents in the folder just seem to consist of proposed additions and use changes for the building. A lot of them didn't pan out. There's a city government roster here, though, and it lists the historical election results for the town going back to the early 20th century. Surprisingly, Flynn and his aunt aren't the only Moors I see on this list. It looks like the Moore family has been involved in public office in some capacity as far back as 1914, which is doubly surprising, noting the prejudice against reptilians that was pretty heavy back then. Are lizards supposed to be an analog for African Americans?
Don't know.
Because they are called Moors, and people with their origins in Africa were called the Moors back when they were Muslims.
Really?
Yeah, it was the Moor invasion of what is now Spain. It was owned by the Moors. That's why some black-only colleges are called Moor colleges. Yeah, so I think that the reptilians are supposed to be analogs for black people, basically. Probably specifically African Americans, though. That gives you a whole lot of horrific things to think about in terms of this world, but I might also just be connecting dots. There's this whole negative stereotype about them being evil and controlling the government that persists even today. So it's pretty weird a family like the Moores managed to keep getting elected back when the ignorance levels were much higher. I'm trying to think of like a real world analog to this. Because I don't think that was a case in the US. Whatever. I'll make a note to ask Flynn about it, as sensitively as possible. I go ahead and put everything back into the folder before returning it to the shelf. So, what next? The mines. There's something about the old mine that feels off to me. Unlike pretty much every locale in Echo, the mine was the one place we absolutely did not play. Sydney tried to make one of our scavenger hunt objectives down in there once, but TJ told his mom about it, and that was the end of that. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and lay it out on the counter table, on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. I guess my hunch might have been right. Opening up the file, the first thing I note is that there is a seriously large amount of documents here, and even a laminated old photograph. Huh. That's a hell of a lot more verdant than it is these days. It had to do with the damming they did up north in the 50s. I'm guessing the CM 1915 refers to the year the photo was taken. Within the folder itself, many of the documents seem to be legal in nature, including documentation about a lawsuit of some sort. The ones on top seem to relate to that tourism program Echo tried a decade ago. There's a few papers about a historical heritage grant and the installation of a bench and two lamps outside the mine's entrance. There's even a reference to a large placard installed into the side of the rock face outside, but I don't remember ever seeing that. Following this, there's another folder. Within that, within that contains some condemned notices and squatter evictions dating from 1970 to 1975. Said folder also notes a work order for the installation of bars in the front in the mine in front to prevent injury in 1976. Next, there's an actual lawsuit documentation itself. The lawsuit contributed in part to the official closing of the mine during the War of 1942. The working conditions were abysmal, and the owners of the mine were also heavily involved in town government, so there were corruption charges. The Nika mine, also known as the CSCG, copper silver coal gold mine, was the most in demand employer in the northern portion of this state for decades. This was in little part due to management by the owners, but rather the natural conditions of the mine itself. The structure of the bedrock kept cave-ins unlikely, and its chemical composition kept the temperature stable and somewhat bearable. Flooding was of minor concern due to the low water table in the region. In other mines within the state, miners could have been expected to stand in 2 feet of dirty water in 40-degree temperatures. All the while, the threat of a cave-in loomed, amplified with every strike of the sledgehammer. Yet even still, the mine managed to have one of the highest casualty rates for its workers in all the Southwest. The suit argues that this was at root due to the severe negligence by the owners, Gregory Briggs. Miners were required to buy their own tools, including candles, sledges, picks, stakes, and even dynamite. Their wages, however, were of such little amount that many miners must have been forced to choose between having these tools and their family being able to eat that week. Many chose the latter, and Many chose the latter, as most men who moved to Echo did so with the explicit purpose of being able to provide for said families. Briggs operated the mine under constant fear of worker unionization. To assuage this, he hired an incredibly nationally diverse assortment of workers. His rationale, though denied in court, was to ensure that no group of workers spoke the same language, thus reducing the chance of collaboration. For better working conditions or wages. This preventative action was partially heinous due to the nature of the work itself. Communication was crucial, especially in the low light conditions of the lower depths. Despite the language barrier, miners were expected to coordinate dangerous group mining procedures. For example, for standard ore extraction, one miner would hold a spike to the wall, while another miner swung the sledge towards the spike. With light sources being scarce, this meant that the risk of striking the other miner with the sledge was a constant risk, and something that occurred with some frequency. Many miners were crippled from blows to the paws or arms, and then and then, once fired, were unable to support their families. This led to several notable starvation incidents within the town. The lawsuit documents also include references to a brief riot in 1915 where a grisly murderer took place where a grisly murder took place within the mines itself. To make sure I make sure to write summaries of all this information down on a blank sheet of printer paper for putting everything back. This It's this sort of crap that makes me glad I live in the age I do now. I don't think I'd make a very good miner. Alright. That's that, I guess. As I turn around, I see the mayor standing in the doorway. She's peering at me quizzically. A little startled, I straighten up. Oh, hi, Mayor. I was just finishing up. She's watching me speak. She's watching me speak, like staring at my mouth, not my eyes. It's honestly freaking me out a little. She didn't respond. Mayor? Make sure you put everything back where you found it. Oh, yeah. Don't worry, I already did that. Did you now? She steps into the room and picks up a folder from the edge of the counter. I recognize it as the one from the abandoned mines. Oh, God. Yeah, sorry. I forgot about that one. Sorry. She stands there with the folder held out, waiting for me. I quickly move over and take the folder. I try to ignore the hard stare I get on my back as I walk to the archive wall. File left end. Second cubby from the top. Oh, thank you. I didn't. Mm-hmm. Looks like Flynn's about ready to take off. You gonna give him some company? The way she phrases that makes me reconsider a hasty response. Sure, I can hang out with him and his roommate. You have a boy in your car. I blink. I have a Carl in my car, yes. I wanted to hang. He wanted to hang back while I did all the work. I feign a chuckle, though not very well. I've never been good at that whole smiling with your eyes thing. Carl Hendricks? Yes. Have a good rest of your evening, Chase. Thank you, Mayor. You too. She moves down the hall. After a moment, I follow suit to meet up with Flynn at the front desk.